I just wanted to make my entrance a little dramatic, okay? I have mixed feelings about Apex Legends these days. It's always been one of the most important games in my life, and if you're a fan or subscriber, I'm willing to bet that a majority of you found me through one of my Apex Legends videos. So this game will always have a special place in my heart. So why don't I want to play it? I don't think anyone would argue that Apex Legends is a bad game. Far from it. I think it's easily the best battle royale game out right now. The gameplay is unmatched in its genre. Where else can you get such smooth gunplay? The movement still feels incredible with a ton of interesting movement abilities at your disposal, and the gameplay itself is very streamlined. Looting in this game feels less like a chore, and the player has a lot more control, with many RNG elements toned down or removed entirely. The introduction of perks have elevated the gameplay, giving each legend a ton more depth. Each legend design is unique. Legends like Pathfinder and Bloodhound are some of my favorites, with rich backstories to help flesh them out. They all have their unique characterization that I really enjoy. And if you look at the Steam charts, Apex Legends is actually doing fine. It's in an incredibly healthy place. These numbers are great. It's clearly doing something right for a lot of people. Okay, so I just really want to make it clear that I think the game is a good game, because now I want to explain some core issues that I think Apex Legends has that have turned me off from playing this game. I fundamentally disagree with the rate at which Apex Legends releases legends. When the game first came out, we were getting a pretty steady stream of legends every season, and then it became unsustainable for them to continue releasing legends this way. So they decided to slow down and release legends every other season. And then now, it's a yearly occurrence. We get one legend a year. I understand that they made this decision to focus on quality of life improvements to the game, as well as focusing on improving legends who previously felt forgotten, leading to some incredible reworks like Revenant Reborn, Lifeline Revived, and most recently, the new Octane. He's a ton of fun. This is all obviously great, and I'm glad it happened, but I don't buy the excuse that we could only have this in exchange for having less legends. Respawn has the resources. Apex Legends alone has made billions of dollars. Any other company could have overhauled the game like how Respawn has done, on top of releasing legends at least a biannual rate. I just don't find this excuse valid, and I find it a bit frustrating that we're just okay with it. A lot of people will argue that the roster would become too large, and thus too difficult to balance, but plenty of hero shooters have much larger rosters and can still handle balancing effectively. Some may argue that it's just become too difficult to create new unique legends, which led to the creation of all these forgettable legends that ended up requiring a rework, like Ballistic. But that's truly just a limit on creativity. And with the resources at their disposal, they could have easily made 10 more cool and unique characters without breaking a sweat. Don't get me wrong, I don't think any game could release legends at the rate that they were doing initially. I'm not arguing to go back to the seasonal model, but I do think they could have easily gotten away with 2 legends a year, because at the end of the day, Apex Legends is a hero shooter. I think it's crazy that a game like Valorant, that came out way after Apex Legends and started with a small roster, now has more agents than Apex Legends has legends. That just seems wrong. Because ultimately, Apex Legends chose not to release more legends simply because it was cheaper. Which I think brings us to the true core issue at hand. Artists, writers, and voice actors cost money. And if we don't add any new legends, we don't have to expand the story, and we don't have to pay every single voice actor to record voice lines with the new legend. And trust me, EA will do whatever it takes to spend as little money as possible. If it affects their bottom line, it doesn't matter if it makes the game better. I mean, they straight up fired the main writer for Sparrow right before he was released. I feel like everybody just glossed over that. And with the slowdown of new legends, it also means we have gotten significantly less story updates, which for some players, it may not matter to them at all. But for fans of this universe, which I promise you there were a ton of, it mattered a lot. There's a reason people really love the stories from the Outlands. These animations gave us rich backstories to each new legend, and sometimes they were just made to expand on the existing legend's lore, while also selling a cool skin, so it still helped their bottom line. But it's been 2 years, and there hasn't been a Stories from the Outlands since. And I know the reason is probably because paying for animators and writers to make a story wasn't helping their bottom line, but the rich story, as convoluted as it may be, was always exciting to see expand and evolve. And since then, the lore has barely been expanded, and it just feels like a ton of unresolved plot threads that are all completely forgotten. And to me, losing this entire section of this game saddens me deeply, especially since this is also the only way we get any drop of Titanfall lore at this point at all, because God only knows if EA will ever make Titanfall 3, and honestly, do we even want them to? Seriously, it just pisses me off to no end that EA has control of one of the coolest gaming IP in Apex Legends and Titanfall, and just does nothing story-wise with it. Not even like a TV show. Could you imagine an Arcane level quality animated television show in the Titanfall Apex Legends universe? If your answer is no, it's because you just know this company never would. So instead of getting really cool lore updates in the form of Stories from the Outlands, we now just get cheaply made, sometimes less than a minute long trailers that are just there to sell cosmetics. Credit where credit's due, sometimes they'll add some cool stuff to the mixtape game mode, but given how front and center these mythic skins have become, Apex Legends' true motive has become very apparent. Now, this last part is more about some personal issues I had as a creator in the space of Apex Legends. I've obviously had a much different experience with this game as someone who made content on it for years. I've met the developers, I've been able to even meet them in person to playtest things, and had plenty of early access sessions. At times, I could even give feedback and insight to help improve the game. I became friends with many people in the space, other content creators, professional players, and even the developers themselves. Being a content creator in the space made it abundantly clear how different the direction was going to be for Apex Legends going forward. A majority of the time, it just feels like cosmetic updates, with the biggest turnoff for me being the mythic skins. Full disclosure, I did buy a lot of the heirlooms when they first came out, but over time, even though I was being very critical of these heirlooms, I knew the only way to actually get some good change was to vote with my wallet. So it's been years since I've bought an heirloom or a mythic skin, and I did this in the hopes of enacting some change by being a content creator who was big in the space, who wanted to see just fairer pricing happen and good changes when it came to cosmetics. But seeing as they're still selling universal heirlooms and now mythic skins, my vote didn't really even matter. So I kind of just got over making content for this game when there really wasn't much content to even cover. But in spite of that, I still love this game, so I would still find ways to make content for it. And one of my biggest endeavors was creating my own tournament series for this game called the Macdown, which is where I felt the most burnt by Respawn personally. The Macdown was a pretty successful community-run tournament. The main gimmick for these tournaments was that I had a ban phase between rounds, which permanently banned legends. And this created, at the time, one of the most unique experiences for this game. I worked with a full-on production team, Airlock.gg, who unfortunately no longer exist, but we made a professional-looking tournament that initially I funded completely out of pocket, prize pool and production costs, because I love the game, and I knew that I needed a proof of concept first in order to actually acquire funding for future Macdowns. So when it came time to pitch the Macdown 2, I not only got sponsors, but I also convinced professional players to play in it. This tournament was feeling more and more legit, so I just wanted Respawn to support this tournament in some capacity, whether financially or at the minimum, Twitch drops or retweets, something, right? But when I pitched the event to Respawn, they told me that legend bans go against how they believe Apex Legends should be played. And if they supported my event, they'd be endorsing the concept, which at the time I could understand. I didn't really think too much about it. It was just in a short call with a few Respawn developers. It was very casual, and thankfully I was able to secure enough funding, so the tournament did not come out of pocket and the event went smoothly. So I made the third and final Macdown, which was also a success, but after that I decided to take a break and see if maybe the next one could be even bigger and maybe even a LAN event. Maybe this one Respawn will support, who knows? But fast forward to the end of 2024 and ALGS, the official Apex Legends tournament series, announced that they would be implementing legend bans for year 5. And this announcement genuinely hurt to hear. I didn't know how to respond to it. I don't own the idea of legend bans, so I'm not upset that they used it. In fact, I was pretty happy that they were doing it because it just made sense. But to not support my tournament series because of legend bans, to just then implement them yourself, and then to also just not even mention the Macdown like a shout out or something, it just left me with a bad taste in my mouth. I got over it, but I knew the Macdown was pretty much over at this point since its main gimmick pandemic was co-opted officially. Now, this is a very specific scenario. It's not that deep, and it shouldn't affect how you feel about Apex Legends. If you like the game, please continue enjoying it. But I've been kind of holding that in, and I just wanted to vent it out to the world because you guys kind of deserve to know why I don't want to make more Apex content these days. So overall, Apex Legends is a good game, but the reason why I don't personally play the game can honestly be boiled down to the fact that I just don't like how EA is running the game. The gameplay itself is objectively good. The game is good, but I think I'm just kind of over it at this point. I'll always make For Noobs videos on new Legends. It's my bread and butter, and those are the videos I enjoy making anyways. But for those of you that are always commenting on my videos, where's Apex Legends? When's the next Apex Legends video? If they're releasing Legends once a year, expect an Apex Legends video once a year. But with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.